2,400 passing yards and 23 touchdown passes. Joey Harrington led Oregon to the best record in school history this season, which of course explains why he is a finalist for this year's Heisman Trophy. The Ducks quarterback joins me now from the All-Star Cafe at Walt Disney World in Florida. Joey, great to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Doing great. Good to have you on the show. Hey, Joe, this race for Heisman Trophy is as wide open as we have seen in recent years. Do you think that any of the four finalists have the inside track?
I don't know how to answer that question because there's so many different things that each of us have done this season and through our careers. You know, it all depends on how you interpret the phrase most outstanding college football player. You know, you can go on statistics, on what you mean to your team, on the best player on the best team in the country. You know, there's so many different ways to interpret it. It's a tough call.
Yeah, exactly right. In fact, I was going to ask you that very question. What exactly does it mean right now? Is the Heisman Trophy for the most outstanding player in the country, or is it for the best player on the best team? What do you personally think?
Personally, I don't know. You know, I've always kind of followed it loosely. You know, I've rooted for my fans, you know, or rooted for the players I liked. I always wanted Peyton Manning and the Notre Dame players to win, but I've never really sat down and thought about it. It's always just seemed to be the best players from the top 5 or 6, you know, 5 or 10 schools in the country that always seem to be invited. So
let me put it to you one last way. 23 touchdowns, 5 picks, a Pac-10 championship. Did you do enough to get the award?
I don't know. You know, like I said from the beginning of the season, I just tried to put our team in a position to win football games. And by winning football games, you know, all the award stuff at the end of the season will come. So, you know, I did what I could on the field, and we'll see what happened on Saturday.
So let's talk about the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season, they dropped a mural. Not just a mural, but a 10-story mural, and not just anywhere but in Manhattan with your picture. Now, when you first saw that, did you think to yourself, you know what, that's pretty cool? Or when you first saw that, did you think, what are you people doing?
It was kind of a mixed reaction. You know, it's something that nobody else had done before. But at the same time, it was fun. You know, how many people can say in 20 years, you know, when they're talking to their kids, that they had a 10-story billboard of themselves in downtown Manhattan? It was a fun deal. But at the same time, you know, it put a lot of pressure on us to perform this year as a team. But you know, we came through it, and I think we really impressed a lot of people along the way.
Hey, I was about to say, that's part of the territory. If you're going to be a quarterback at a program that's got a chance to win a major conference and contend for a national championship, there's going to be some pressure. But if you're a Heisman Trophy candidate, there is a certain burden that goes along with it week to week, isn't there?
Absolutely. You know, you feel like you have to perform every week. But, you know, I honestly just tried to ignore that stuff this year. We had so much talent on our team, more than I've ever been a part of, that I thought if I could just put us in a position to be successful on the field, and you know, all that stuff would translate into success at the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm a West Coast guy, Joey, so I'm probably preaching to the choir here. I understand the Pac-10. I watch a lot of Pac-10 football. Year in and year out, there's some skilled guys in the Pac-10. There's some great football played in the Pac-10. Amazingly, though, nobody since 1981 has won the Heisman Trophy. That was Marcus Allen. Very clearly, not everybody on the East Coast can stay up and watch those games. That's got to be something of a concern for you.
Yes and no. You know, in situations like this, yeah, it may be. There is a somewhat of a bias just because the East Coast doesn't get a chance to watch our games. You know, our late games on Fox start at 10 o'clock on the East Coast, and a lot of sports writers are going to bed or going to see their families by then. You know, but if we had taken care of our business during the season, we really wouldn't be in that position to have to worry about it.
You know, which brings you to the next point. You've got a Fiesta Bowl shot. You've got a shot against Colorado, who's playing as well as anybody in the nation right now. That's great news. I think if somebody came to you before the year started and said, we'll put you in against Colorado in the Fiesta Bowl, you might say, I can live with that, unless, of course, you think you should be in the Rose Bowl.
Well, you know, I would love to be in the Rose Bowl. That was obviously our goal from the start of the season. But, you know, if somebody did come up to me preseason and say, hey, you're going to be playing on January 1st with back-to-back conference championships against one of the best teams in college football, I'd have to say all right to that.
Now, you would also say to me, it is the system. I can't fight the system. I'm going to roll with the system. But I would say to you, does the system work?
That's a tough call. I don't know. Personally, I think there are some problems. Just because in years past, you know, when I've been growing up watching college football, there were 2 things that really ended a national championship run. That was 2 losses, and that was a loss late in the season. Right now, the teams that are ahead of us have both of those, have 2 losses and have a loss at the end of the season. And Colorado, who beat Nebraska, is still sitting behind them. So, you know, I think there are flaws in the system, but it is better than simply a straight vote. It takes into a lot of other things into account.
All right, so you're a Heisman Trophy finalist. You've got a shot for the hardware. Would you trade a Heisman Trophy win for a shot to play in the Rose Bowl this year?
I would do anything to play in the Rose Bowl. That has been a dream since day one. You know, ever since our group of freshmen came into Oregon, we sat down and said we want to have a shot to play for the national championship. And I would trade anything. I would trade this trip to Florida. I'd trade the trip to New York this weekend to just be playing in Pasadena on the 3rd.
All right, so we'll see if the numbers are good enough. Joe, congratulations. It was a great year. Nice to have you on the last word. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Nice to talk to you. All right, Joey Harrington. When we come back, we'll change of gears. In fact, I will be joined by the only man in college football history to win the Heisman.
And believe it or not, this turned out to be the warmest day of the week, even though we believe it had nothing to do with the guys from Miami coming in. But we were all kind of stunned. It hit 50 degrees here for the first time in quite a while.
All right, we're getting a weather report with the heat in town. It's a play on words, and it's a beautiful one at that. Brent Barry for 3. 87-86 at the end of 3. The Sonics' first lead, 4th quarter. Anthony Carter runs into Eddie Jones, and, well, he coughs up an air ball. Pat Riley not thrilled. Todd Johnson explains the cold heat to us.
When a basketball hits the rim many times over, it generates friction, which gives you kind of a cold heat when a particularly bad basketball team comes to town.
It's amazing what you can learn on SportsCenter. Thank you, Todd. Under 3 seconds, Sonics by 2.
Oh, yes! He did it! He did it! We're going to overtime!
Jimmy Jackson just signed this week, sent it into OT, and then Alonzo Mourning down low for the bucket. The Heat goes on to win 98-94. That is Miami's first ever win in Seattle. They were 0-13 there in their franchise history. The Heat snaps that 12-game losing streak. Miami's previous win also came against Seattle in overtime. Zoe with 21 points. He ties a season high with 12 rebounds. The Sonics have now dropped 3 in a row.
Sixers taking on the Spurs, AIDNP because of a thumb.
Between the corner and the bucket, Sonics trail by 8 going into the second. More GP with a runner that goes sidewinder. Peyton with 13 points in the first half. Former Blazer Brian Grant, he's a workhorse. Blue collar down low, black and blue by game's end. He earned that. His Heat take a 7-point lead to the half. Third corner was all Sonics. They outscore Miami by 8. The biggest shot beat the buzzer.